Welcome and good evening. It's my pleasure now to begin our fifth session today on Dharma and artificial intelligence. It's my pleasure to now invite our Vice President of the Canadian Hindu Chamber of Commerce and our MC for this evening, Mr. Kushagar Sharmaji.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to come and join us for our fifth session out of the 8. We understand this is the last weekend before school starts, so many people are away on vacation. Many are doing some last-minute shopping for their children, and many others are dropping their kids off at university for the first time, perhaps. But regardlessly, we thank everyone for taking the time out and joining us today. Now, I would like to introduce, he needs no introduction, but nevertheless, I'd like to introduce our Kavindra Rishi, who also goes by Jeffrey Armstrong. Jeffrey Armstrong Kavindra Rishi is a philosopher, practitioner, and teacher of the Vedas for 40 years. Prior to his teaching, he had a successful career as an executive in the Silicon Valley. He spent 5 years in an ashram as a brahmachari. For 15 years, he was a corporate executive in the Silicon Valley and a speaker for Fortune 500 companies, and was written about regularly in the US Today, the Wall Street Journal, LA Times, San Jose Mercury News, Discovery Magazine, CNN, Stern, and many others. We are very lucky to have Kavindra Rishi host this very special series. We're on number 5 of number 8. There are still 3 more to go. And what I encourage everyone to do is go on YouTube, go on the official Canadian Hindu Chamber of Commerce YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see the previous ones. And once you watch it in order, you watch 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one, it will make a lot more sense, right? It flows a lot better. You will enjoy the newest session a lot easier. So please do, whenever you get the chance, please do see that. And sorry, one more thing. Recently, if you have not heard, our very own Kavindra Rishi was awarded the Distinguished Hinduologist Award by the ICCR, which is the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, a government of India body. So many congratulations to our very own Kavindra Rishi from the Canadian Hindu Chamber of Commerce. We're very proud to see Kavindra Rishi getting such recognition from the government for all of his extinguished and hard work. So without any further ado, I'd like to pass it on to Kavindra Rishi.
Thank you so very much, and it's such a pleasure to be with you all again. It's an honor and a delight to be with you as we enter into the next phase of this renaissance of the Hindu Vedic culture worldwide. And it's very exciting that we're all able to participate in this together. Because I came in from the cold, from the outside, I always begin Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshvara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, and then Omagana Timirandasya, Ganangana Salakaya, Chakshur Unmilitam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. In my case, it is absolutely the case that I was born blind and I groped around and bumped into things and didn't understand, but I had questions. But only the gurus from Bharat had answers that were any way different than the rest of what was being given throughout the world. So we are all so fortunate to be associated with this profound, unique, and deeply compassionate and caring culture. And this time in our 5th session, we have gotten to the point, we've already discussed Introduction to Dharmocracy, how to reframe your Hindu identity, change the narrative, how to reframe your Hindu identity again, and then who are you actually serving? One of the important dharmic questions. And finally, this week, Dharma and artificial intelligence, taking us to the current dilemma that our world is facing, which is how to adapt to technological developments without destroying the world. It's that simple. The new powers that have been given to us, in my opinion, it is the Vedic civilization that has the medicine. Number one, because in order to hold the right viewpoint, it is not optional. You must see yourself as on a journey of many lifetimes going from life to life. Without a context of that magnitude, you will be Duratma, not Mahatma. You will be small-minded. You will not be large-minded. You will not hold the bigger picture because your tiny selfishness will drive you. One lifetime desperation is the disease of Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and of course, the runaway abused child from the medieval Catholic Church, modern science. All of them are in chaos and mental illness from one lifetime itis. The other thing I want to begin with reminding you all is that my emphasis in this is linguistics. It is to say the correct use of both Sanskrit and the English language. And that means not using inappropriate English words that were planted in your mind by Lord, and I don't mean him as a lord, so-called Lord Macaulay, when he destroyed the Sanskrit educational system in Bharat and replaced it with English-only propaganda. Not to do anyone a service, but to fully complete and make possible the colonization of your culture and my culture now, that culture. And so, there are two things I want to say at the very beginning again, until you cannot forget them. This is one of the definitions my gurus gave me for yoga. Yoga means, first of all, to have the correct identification of who you truly are, and then two instructions. Always remember, never forget. Always remember and never forget. And all of the methodologies of yoga are the methods of not forgetting, or the information about who we truly are. And when I say yoga, I don't just mean Ashtanga, I mean Patanjali's Ashtanga, I mean Karma Yoga, I mean Jnana Yoga, and I mean Bhakti Yoga, and all of its great professors. Now, as I was listening to the introduction, I heard two words that I should never hear again on this show: religion and spirituality. Throw those words away. They do not apply to the Vedic Sanatana Dharma culture. It is not, and never was, and never will be a religion. A book of rules with a mysterious, distant deity. It is not very friendly or communicative, with only one chance, and you either go straight to hell and get roasted forever, or you go to some nebulous heaven, which actually means oatmeal. But nobody knows the real meaning even of heaven. It means enough oats for the winter, it's oatmeal. So heaven is oatmeal. Religion is these one book problematic relationships with knowing and nothing. The Supreme isn't friendly. Bhagavan says to Arjuna at the beginning of the Gita, because you're my friend, I'm going to share myself with you and tell you who I am. So this is the next part, and I want to begin tonight with this, that the Vedic Dharma is first and foremost just what we said about technology when I started. When we transitioned from the Apple II to the Macintosh, do you know what the buzzword was? User-friendly. DOS was not user-friendly. DOS was a pain in the DOS. In the ASCII, I used to say. Pain in the ASCII. But the transition from DOS to a reasonable user-friendly interface made all the difference. and everyone got in the game then. So this is what I want you to understand that's so important about the Hindu Vedic culture, and that is it's got to be user-friendly, and it's got to be clear and have a vocabulary of its own and not use the colonizing words that Macaulay imposed upon the culture. Macaulay said, get rid of Sanskrit, don't teach Arabic for the Muslims. He said, stop paying money to teach those and only teach them English, and they will become like us and do what we say. And that is what has accomplished. It's been accomplished. Except you're saying, wait a minute, we're going to change all this. Bravo. Because of gurus like yourselves, I was changed. I was transformed. And so I want to give you another word in English and one piece of advice also. If you speak languages from Bharat, always speak at half speed. Never, if you expect to be understood, speak at full speed, because no one will understand you. That is the difference between these well-crafted languages and English. English is such a sloppy language, you have to go slowly and carefully. Whereas when you're talking what you're doing, when you're speaking Espanol, you go to Spain and you speak like this, ¿Cómo está usted? ¿Qué pasa? Ni nada, mucho. And nobody who wasn't born in Spain or Spanish or in Mexico or in South America knows what you're saying. Similarly, no one knows what you're saying if you do not go to half speed. Just slow it down until it is user-friendly. Become the Macintosh version of yourself, please. Not a dumbed-down version, an user-friendly version. So, first advice, remove all of the colonizing terminology from your discussions of who you are and what your culture is. Second, slow down. Third, just make it a friendly conversation. If it can't be friendly, you're talking to the wrong person and don't do it. If you can talk to them in a friendly way, then you can actually be in the mood of Dharma. So, the words to disavow, I'm going to call this colonizing words anonymous. You know Alcohol Anonymous? That's when alcoholics give up alcohol and they go to Alcoholics Anonymous. So hold your hand up and swear off all the colonizing English words. You ready? I promise that, no, I don't see hands. I promise that I will do everything within my power to remove the colonizing English from my vocabulary, and I will never use it to describe my culture, the Hindu, Vedic, Sanatan, Dharma culture. Thank you very much. You may take your hand down. It was all optional. Thank you for participating. It's between you and Bhagavan. It's between yourself, and now this is the next step because of our topic today. It's all about artificial intelligence, isn't it? Well, that's because the computer is being used to replace us. It's not complicated. What our humanity is, and remember where human came from? Bhumi. Bhumin, B-H-U-M-I, the Sanskrit word that gave us humus. And humans are made out of dirt on a good day. So, we are Bhumin beings. We are humi beings. We are humus. And so, I'm going to give you an alternative word to artificial intelligence. And in a moment, I'll tell you why. The alternative word is artificial intelligence. Don't be artificial, be from the heart. This is what bhakti is. If there's not an appropriate amount of warmth and true caring emanating from your hridaya, right? Hridaya in Sanskrit. Remember what that is? Hari's dayas. The hridaya is the seat of Hari, Bhagavan. And he says in the Gita, I'm in everyone's heart, and I'm guiding their wanderings through the realm of Prakriti. So, Hari Dayas, Hari Daya. And if you are speaking from there, the words that you say will vibrate differently. Artificial. They will officially come from your heart. And artificial intelligence is what is creating the opportunity in our world for despotism that we have never understood. For everyone being dominated by a few domineering and wealthy and powerful beings. And we are on that road. And if we don't get off that road very consciously, then there may not be a world as we have known it. The most conservative ecologists are saying 10 years until you may not be able to turn back fast enough to stop an epic destruction. So I would like to say to you, and I know this because I worked in Silicon Valley and watched it close up and personal. This is not something abstract to me. I was there, and they didn't tell you in the introduction, but I spent 10 years as a comedian, you'd never figure that out, satirizing technology, making fun of technology, ridiculing it, saying that it's dangerous. And I made full-time, I got paid fairly decently for going from computer company to computer company and telling them to be careful not to destroy the world. I was already a yogi. This was my seva, to warn them about artificial intelligence. So I love this topic because I did it full-time for 10 years using comedy. Artificial intelligence. Speaking from my heart, showing them where this could take us. That it is an enslavement, a possibility of enslavement that goes beyond anything in history. It is unprecedented. And now a secret I think you'll enjoy. Artificial intelligence comes from the word art. Do you want to think for a moment what Sanskrit word that you should know and speak frequently that comes from? What are the four aims of human life according to the Sanskrit texts? Kama, Dharma, I skipped one, didn't I? Moksha, artha. Artha. You know, that very important word that got mistranslated caste? Because artha, is that not the art of something that you contribute to society? Isn't artha, it's translated economic development, but that's not really what it is. It's really you using what you're artful in, your best skill for the well-being of others, and you making an honorable, dharmic living, cooperating with the rules of Mata Bhumi through the artfulness of what? Of your caste? Let me ask you a question, because I've studied a lot of martial arts. I've studied 7 or 8 different kinds, 3 kinds of sword fighting. I really did martial arts this lifetime. So if somebody came up to me and said, I'm a martial artist, I would not say to them, tell me about your family. It's absolutely stupid. What do I care about their family? Tell me about your dad. Can your dad fight? It's not his dad he's talking about or she's talking about. He said, I know martial arts. So then my answer is, well, fine. Let's try not to hurt each other, but let's fight, and we'll find out if you do. Don't talk about it. It's martial arts. It's artha. If you can't do it, you can't do it. So let me be very clear. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, professor, protector, producer, provider. And provider, Shudra means doing a skill that's valuable in society in a trustworthy way. It's not a lesser occupation. It's a particular skill set that holds life together. My partner Sandy and I, every few weeks, get our nails done by a wonderful manicurist. And that's all she does. She's a Shudra. I don't say that with disgust. I don't say she's in a lower caste. She's marvelous. She's brilliant. She makes my hands beautiful. But she's a Shudra. It is not lower than being a Kshatriya. It is not lower than anything. It's specific. And it's known as your Sva-dharma. Your Sva-dharma, from the root of dharma, which is dri, which means the essential nature of a thing, which if you take it away, that thing is no longer itself. In this glass, you will see some water. Trust me, it's water. If it's not liquid and it doesn't quench my thirst, it's not water, but it is. And we're mostly made of it, aren't we? So, what is the dharma of water? You see? That's how the word is used. The root is dri, and dri means the essential nature of a thing, which if you take it away, it is no longer itself. Take away liquidity, it's no longer water. Take away holding, it's no longer a glass. This is the meaning of dharma. That's why it's got nothing to do with religion. It's not faith, it's not what you believe, it's what you can do. It's how you're constructed. It's your varna, isn't it? And varna, you don't determine your varna by asking who your mommy is. I say, I'm a kick-ass warrior, and you say, who's your mommy? And I say, you. Dummy. Because you don't know what to do in the presence of a warrior, so you're obviously not one. I highly suggest you don't spar with me. It'll be unpleasant. Unless you're a warrior, in which case we'll be careful not to hurt each other. But we'll find out who has better skills at protecting. A Kshatriya is not just to hurt. Kshatriya means hurt and protect, doesn't it? But protect first. A policeman that just wants to hurt and that's why they've got the job is terrible. Now, what's this got to do with artificial intelligence? Because until we understand artha, how can we understand the correct use of technology? Technology is just destroying our understanding of our proper work in the world, how that ties in with who we ultimately are. They're not related. Your artha, whether you're a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, has nothing to do with you being an Atma. Except you, the Atma, are in a body, and that body has a certain set of abilities, and those abilities make you useful at a particular function, right? You see it? So there should be no word caste in the Vedic civilization. It's Portuguese, casta. And it means money you inherit from your parents, or political power you inherit from your parents. That is a caste system. Artha is the ability you came in with, cultivated to a point where you can do it. And then what are you in next? From varna? Glad you asked. there must be departments within that. So what if you're a soldier? What kind of soldier, I would say? You say, I'm a soldier. I say, are you in engineering? Are you in communication? Are you a pilot? Are you a ground fighter? So now we know your varna. But what do we need to know next? Your jati, the particular thing you do in that varna. And there's hundreds or thousands. Just in the military alone. If you're in the military, I'd immediately say, so what branch and what did you do? I want to know, what is your, I know your varna, you just told me, I'm a Kshatriya. Then I say, great, so what's your function? What's the function you're best at? And next I ask, and what is your Shreni? What's your rank? Shreni means rank. And varna means activity. Artha means the art that you know. And so, with these understandings, and now we're back to artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, what we need to do at this moment in history as members of the Hindu Vedic Sanatana Dharma culture is make certain that technology does not destroy Dharma. And in doing so, destroy humans, their free will, their ability to be who they are, not dominated by machines or technology or despots. And people cooperating together to build a future for our planet, for Mata Bhumi. That is what they need to be. That is what we are really here to do for, and that is Sanatana Dharma. That is the Hindu Vedic Sanatana Dharma. But to practice it, you must know what is the contribution you're making, your varna, your artha, and then your position in that, and then your level in that, so that you can behave appropriately and continue growing in what you do. If it was martial arts, we ask, what belt do you have? You know martial arts in that way? So you have a yellow belt, an orange belt, a red belt, a green belt, a black belt. Okay, so you have a brown belt? Okay. When I learned Kung Fu, my master, who was a Chinese Kung Fu master, I met him in Hawaii, he taught in his backyard, on the dirt, on the ground. And one day, being new to it all, I said to him, Master Fong, please tell me, why belts? He said, well, I'll tell you a secret. There are only two belts. White belt when you start out, and black belt when you get thrown on the ground enough that you know how to do this. The rest is just details. So don't get caught up in any caste system. Don't let varna or shreni or any of it be something other than what it really is. It's a measure of your ability, your focus, the particular thing you do well. It's a way of determining your function. And then that function is to be done in the Vedic culture as a yajna, in such a way that we cooperate with who? Ishavasyamidam sarvam, yatkin cha jagat yam jagat, tena tyaktena bunjita, magrida kasya sviddanam. Isa Upanishad, verse 1. Next verse, if you cooperate with the divines, the devas, the many devas, who also are in groups, who also in hierarchies, just as humans are, then kurvan eveha karmani, jijivishek shatam samaha, evam tvainanyate tosti, na karma lipyate na re. And you, ladies and gentlemen, are the personifications of artha. You have the art of producing. That's why you're in a group that is dedicated to that, or you're hoping to learn that. And you know that without kama, artha, dharma, moksha, life is not complete. And so you're cultivating artha, the art of a particular occupation, entrepreneurial activity, what I call entrepreneurial activity. In a democracy, no, a Dharmocracy, we hope. And what I'm here to share with you is a way to look at this, a way to think of this, a way to speak of this that does not trap you in the colonial trap you were put in by Macaulay and others like him. And until you fix your language, and until you learn to bring these terms across the way I'm doing right now, so that they cannot become confused and muddled and mixed up and used against you, then you will continue to flail about in the morass of language that Macaulay knew he was throwing you into. So the secret, to make it very simple, is do not use inappropriate words that were given to you in order to steal your culture. Do not use colonizing English. Do not use those words. Number 2, learn about 100 or so Sanskrit words that are absolutely mandatory. They're in the back of the Bhagavad Gita that I translated. If you want a starting point, you must have 100 or so word Sanskrit vocabulary. There are no English synonyms to replace them with. If you replace them, you lose. If you use them, you can slowly educate the audience that you're speaking to those words, and then you can share the Vedic world view. Because you're all dedicated to artha, then the next step is not artificial, but heartificial intelligence in pursuit of Dharma. Sva Dharma, the Dharma of individualism. Sanatan Dharma, the Dharma that is always true. And Bhumi Dharma, because it's what we need to really do at this moment in time. Not give in to robotics, but turn robotics and user-friendly back to human dignity and the arts and skills that are unique to us because we are Mata Bhumi's children. I believe my time has expired by 1 minute. Thank you very much for listening. And with this little bit, try to take in each of these pieces each time. And remember, what we're doing is reframing the Vedic Sanatan Dharma identity. We're using language to do that. So really it is reprogramming. But this isn't artificial, this is heartificial. And with that, pranams. Thank you very much for listening and giving me this opportunity. And I am grateful to all the great gurus for everything that is in my life, in my heart, and it's an honor to be able to share some of it with you. Thank you and pranams.
Namaste, Jeffrey. Thank you so much for this very insightful session, as always. And something I'm going to be taking with me for sure is not using religion, but Vedic Dharma from now on. And I think it's so key and so important and something that we always pick up on. Before we open up for our live question and answer period, which I see a few questions are starting to come in, I want to announce that our gala, our Dhanteras gala for the first time, our first one, will be happening November 5th, 2022 from 6 p.m. onwards. It will be happening in Oakville at 2245 Spears Road, Oakville. It's this beautiful banquet hall, really brand new, over 400 spaces for parking. It'll be a unique, fun-filled evening with numerous opportunities for networking. Awards will be given out to business individuals as well as prominent Hindu members of our community within Canada and North America as a whole. And your attendance and your presence is highly welcomed and will make this event even more a greater success. So we look forward to seeing you all there and being part of that unique Dhanteras gala, first of its kind. So we're picking up on some of the things Jeffrey G has been teaching us and incorporating that into our sort of CHCC family as a whole. There's one question, very unique. They asked about the Matrix and the movie and stuff. How do we sometimes we feel that we are in that sort of lifestyle of things becoming more unreal. How can we use our knowledge to know that we're really in the world itself?
There are various ways that we can be disembodied. This method has never been tried before. Throughout history, despots of all kind have done something that surreptitiously took away certain autonomous abilities that we had as human beings. And we are faced with another moment of that sort. So one of the first places to look is childhood development. The biggest danger on our planet right now is to our children, because unless you give them medicine, which is knowledge and classes and instruction, to counterbalance what they're automatically being bombarded by, their nervous system, their temperament, and who they are is going to be shaped by the world and not your influence. So never has it been more important for the parents to be active participants in the worldview of their children and to help their children to understand this, to keep them in a balanced relationship with embodiment and technology, so that artificial isn't what they become. Because soon as they do, they will be robots. Soon as they do, they will be co-opted. They will not even know what they could have been. It'll be too late, because their development bonded them to being a robot, to being an automaton, better word even. This automaton training is what we're in the face of, and it is the danger right now. And you as parents and grandparents have to become alerted to this and set up a curriculum that counterbalances technology. Just as if you're at all sane when it comes to technology, you don't keep your phone with you all the time. You put it down, shut it off, and go somewhere else. You don't keep online 24/7. You don't make your alarm clock be if someone wants to talk to you at any time during the day just because the computer says so. You put the computer in its place. And this is exactly what has to happen, with great self-awareness and consciousness. So I would say to you, Macaulay's next trick is technology. Because instead of meaning in life, which is what English took out of Sanskrit, the meaning of Sanskrit was removed by English. Next, ironically enough, Indian engineers and Sanskrit were used to make programming languages. Binary mathematics came from the Rig Veda. This whole show is a display of Vedic buddhi, of the great discerning and scientific knowledge that came out of Bharat. But the way it's being used right now is the problem. So you can't extract yourself or your children from the world, but you can redefine the world for them in a dynamic, user-friendly, active, and convincing way. If you don't, I guarantee, sadly, you will lose them before you even know it. And this is also why this is unprecedented. Young people just going through puberty are using hormones to decide their gender. This is artificial intelligence. There's nothing wrong with being of any gender if that's the way you were made. Bharat never went against people because they were of different makeups. They found a place for them, but they still saw them this way. And so all of these forces are coming at us from every direction. So I would say to you, as a parent, your parenting, you need to behave like a PhD in an emergency, and you need to be an active, dynamic, user-friendly part of the education of all of those around you, and help them not to be swallowed up in this moment, in this historical moment. If this moment can go by with enough people still sane, there'll be enough numbers not to have the whole thing go down. Okay, long answer, short question.
And absolutely, and I think that really does highlight some of the points. Another very interesting question today. Recently, NASA released the video on how the universe ultimate sound of movement in space is Om and its frequency. How does this help or encourage our Dharma, Vedic Dharma?
Well, it's a wonderful opening, isn't it? So this is the thing. If you get an opening like that, then the next question is, so are you going to take advantage of it or not? Just like what I'm sharing with you right now, think of that as an opportunity. Now, here's the equation, same equation. How quickly can you get what I said today all over around the planet into the entire community of Bharat? Just as someone said at the beginning, couldn't we do something to make all the temples become places people want to visit? Yes, but what would be the point if when they get there, they talk like an idiot and they don't know how to describe it in Vedic terms because no one's there teaching them? So I'm 76 years old. I guarantee you, because I'm an astrologer, you have about 5 more years to use me at my prime. So this message needs to reach everyone so they start to reprogram the world actively and dynamically with dharmic principles. If they don't, there's way too much momentum and it just won't matter. And everything will be swept away.
Thank you, Jeffrey. We have a question about young youths, specifically university college students. It's really hard for us to get them engaged in our dharma. I was going to say religion, dharma, and our Vedic dharmic practices. Is it really important for us to take them to our mandirs, or is it more encouraged to read the scriptures?
Okay.
Which should be the focus?
I'm really glad you asked this question. It's a very important question. The answer is neither. Both will cause confusion. Because biodiversity is what the Vedic culture allowed, and it allowed it because of a many lifetime worldview. If you have a many lifetime worldview, then you relax about what somebody must do this lifetime or must be, as long as they're not destroying or undermining the rest of civilization. Okay? That's called an asura. So if somebody's not asura, but they're moving at a more relaxed pace, or this is the aspect of Vedic knowledge that they like and that's enough for them, they don't want more, then instead of having a police that comes and tries to coerce them and enforce them, the Vedic civilization says, that's okay, you have as many lifetimes as you want. You're in charge of that, we're not. But if you'd like, we'll speed up your evolution because we know how to do that. That's the other part of yoga. You can speed up the person's evolution because that evolution's in their hands. And that is the secret that must be known. Just to open up all the temples and make them into a circus of viewpoints is going to reinforce exactly what everybody is saying. That there's no particular meaning to the Vedic culture. It's just a whole bunch of opinions and colorful objects and pretty looking things in different temples. They're going to say you have many gods. You know what I said to that when I was in technology? I'll tell you my latest finding. I think you'll enjoy it. So I say to the people who are not Hindu, why do you have icons on your desk? Top. And they say, well, because DOS is miserable and the icons are user-friendly and they help me to deal with my computer. And I say, well, what you don't know is you've become a Hindu. And they say, what do you mean? Well, because you have many icons. Your computer desktop is covered with icons. And the tech support is Ganesha. And how do we know this? Because in order to work your computer, you use a mouse. So secretly, all computer users are Hindus. No one's just told them yet, because we're just waiting. Once they're totally in, then we'll tell them, oh, by the way, you're a Hindu. Artificial intelligence? No, artificial intelligence. AI, yeah, Vedic AI comes from the Rig Veda. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Guess what? The laws of nature need to be followed or we'll destroy the world. That's the icons on the desktop. Those aren't idols, they're laws of nature. The devas and devis are laws of nature. And if we don't obey them, we'll destroy the world. But we don't ask them for things. We make promises to them of what we'll do for them. We say, I will obey the laws of nature, not gimme, gimme, gimme. Gimme, gimme's the problem. I will obey the laws of nature is the solution. That's called a yajna. That's called yoga.
I think that answer drew a lot of claps and applauses and insights from the audience, and really insightful. There is more questions, but you can always email us and we can for sure pass it to Jeffrey G, and we can get them answered at another time, as time is a little bit limited. But we do want to recognize our board of directors who make these sessions really possible. Special thanks today to our MOU, Jagannath Ji, and all the individuals who joined us live from India, 5 in the morning. So thank you so much. It really shows the dedication. Of course, Jeffrey G and the entire team that is in BC that make this event possible, and our amazing audio video crew that work very hard to make our YouTube pages and stuff very popular, which was mentioned before. If you missed the session or you missed a part of it, you can always check us on YouTube, which I do check. The views are constantly going up, so I see you're all watching them, and that really shows the enthusiasm in our community. I wanted to highlight, if you want to become a member of the Canadian Hindu Chamber of Commerce, you can become a general member. We also have a youth membership. We have life memberships as well as corporate memberships, and each one has a unique feature and benefit that you can take advantage of. Something like these sessions are provided by us jointly, and our MOU organizations that work so closely that make this session possible. I wanted to highlight that our next session with Kavindra Rishi ji will be happening on October 2nd, 2022, Dharma for the young at heart. So looking forward to seeing you all there and joining us. Once again, have a great evening, and thank you for joining us. Namaste, everyone. And sorry, I wanted to acknowledge our board of directors as well as our advisory members. Wanted to special thank you to Surendra Sharmaji. He's joining us live, and thank you for taking part. Once again, thank you, and namaste, everyone.